our next speaker from LogRhythm. Brian Albrecht, CISSP, is an experienced information security consultant who manages the SME sales engineering team at LogRhythm. He has over 15 years of experience in the field of information technology and network security. Prior to LogRhythm, Brian worked for several Fortune 500 companies. Please welcome Brian Albrecht.
So thank you, everybody. Thanks to EarthBend for having us. Where you guys went, but appreciate it. I am from LogRhythm, security intelligence company based out of Boulder, Colorado. I'll kind of go into the kind of the threat landscape today. Kind of show you how LogRhythm kind of works to mitigate that, and just give you kind of an overall view. As I was, watching the presentations today, they've all been very, very, very good. I was going through my presentation, and our marketing team put together some great slides, and some really good stats on, cyber security threats out there. And as I began watching more and more presentations this morning, I think our marketing teams must talk because everybody has the same stats. So if I bore you with the same ones at least 7 times, 7 ways, whatever they say, you'll be able to know how long the average threat is in an environment. I can guarantee that. So, all right, I was going to start out. I don't have any video like the Ellen DeGeneres video, which was awesome, or anything else. I was going to start out with a joke. I couldn't really think of any. I have a UDP joke, completely nerdy UDP joke. But there's one problem with telling a UDP joke is only about half the people are going to get it. Oh, sorry. It'll get better. I used to do all of our training and or clothes in the training class. I had to listen to those the entire week. So, all right. So, like I said, we're LogRhythm, the SIM company, security information event management tool based out of Boulder, Colorado. Just quickly, raise your hands if you're familiar with SIM and what we do. So, a few. I'll kind of, like I said, go through this and, walk through and let you know, what we do as a whole and kind of how we fit in with the other, security vendors that are here. And it's really kind of a compounded way that we all work to, mitigate the threats that are out there. So again, a similar slide to what you've seen, the expanding attack surface. So, as John pointed out, the attack surface is expanding, it's ever expanding. So you have your users, your network, your cloud. And 10, 15 years ago, end users throw a firewall and IDS up, and you think you'd be good to go. But now it's just, as the attackers evolve, as our technology evolves, they evolve. It's just a kind of a game of cat and mouse. Motivated and well-funded threat actors. So again, in the previous presentation, you talked about, not only do we have a kid in his basement trying to just do something malicious, but they really want to, these are nation states that are funded going after our intellectual data. Intellectual data throughout the world, activists, so anonymous or WellSec, some of those don't really hear about them anymore. But there's continuing activism groups that are out there, and typically they're going to just look for trying to cause problems, to face a website, something like that. But actions like that can often lead to further damage. An example I had that one of LogRhythm's engineers worked on forensic analysis of a Sony data breach, not the most recent one, but a PlayStation breach that occurred, I think, about 4 years ago, where a number of millions of PlayStation accounts were lost. And, it gave us the information that original attack really just started by a hacktivist group trying to deface the Sony website. Ran a bunch of SQL injection tools. They got in, they did their defacement, but then as they continued to work, they found that I can dig deeper and deeper and deeper, and that's how it started. So in that sense, mitigating that initial defacement could have, possibly prevented that entire breach. And then we have multiple, vectors that they're getting in, spear phishing, different, types of viruses that are still out there, social engineering. So, John talked about, the insider threat, but that's also, the social engineering side, sending somebody into your environment, trying to get in, trying to infiltrate. You have to be wary on all fronts, not just the cyber side. And then finally, on the right side there, well-established cybercrime economy. Our CTO gives this presentation, and he knows, and I don't know where he got the stat from, but cybercrime economy now is more lucrative than the drug community out there, the drug crime community. So I thought that was a pretty astounding number. So, again, not only is it just a kid out there trying to have fun or be mischievous, there's money out there to be had, and where there's money, they're going to continue going after it. So this has a kind of a build problem there in the top left, so excuse that. But ever increasing cyber risk. I'll show you the next part here. But again, just some of the threats that are out there, the threat actors, how are they getting into our environment? Brute forcing, keyloggers, whatever it might be, we kind of talked to it a little bit. This is, I think, just an insane stat. Last year, there was a 66% growth in security incidents. And these are all, incidents that were reported. So, how many more were out there that we don't know about? And just look at that number from 2009. Was that because there weren't as many incidents occurring? Or was it because, we didn't know they were occurring? We didn't report them because we didn't have the methodology or the tools to go in and find, that we've been breached. Something like that has occurred. Damaging data breaches, again, I think you guys have all seen these and talked about these today. Target, of course, is a good one to pick on. Some of the others that are out there. One thing I wanted to bring up on this slide is, she mentioned in my intro, I oversee a team of sales engineers at LogRhythm, and we work specifically in the small medium enterprise. So we're not, tackling the Targets, the Home Depots. But for those organizations, security is just as important, and often more critical, because you suffer a data breach, your small medium enterprise, that cost of that data breach could end up putting somebody out of business. Really, that's part of LogRhythm benefit, I think, is when you talk to folks, and I talked to somebody today. I think we had a conversation. I have a 4 or 5 man IT team that covers network, security, everything. A tool like this, along with everything else you have, can help you. When you don't have the manpower to look at this information to really be effective. 71% of firms surveyed were compromised by a successful cyber attack in 2014. I think I saw a stat earlier, it was 80% for healthcare providers. So, again, very high numbers. Almost 3/4 of corporations that were surveyed, 71%, they had a cyber breach that occurred. And the comment from the FBI director, if you haven't been hacked by the Chinese yet, you're going to be. It kind of goes along with the common theme I think we've heard today. It's when, not if. I've been with LogRhythm 7 years, and I know kind of our marketing mantra before was if, it's if, not when. Now it's changed to when, not if. It's, kind of depressing in that side. Another stat that I have that maybe you guys didn't hear today. The study last year for 2014, 70% of the breaches that were found by a third party. So they weren't even, the internal security team wasn't even available and able to, find that breach on their own. They were notified by their credit card processing company or, an external vendor, something like that. So you want to have that visibility in your environment to be able to track that information down and know that something malicious is happening. I apologize, the fonts I know kind of hard to read from the back there. So prevention-centric approaches are insufficient. So what do those mean? So, I talked about, 10, 15 years ago, you throw a firewall, IDS, whatever else you might have, people will call you good. You're technically, I feel like I'm secure. Now by themselves, that technology is still the same, but it's, we need to have a layered security platform. So, in addition to those tools, we need the other pieces that are out there, signature-based, other security tools that are continuously monitoring. So a layered security approach to kind of deal with the modern cybersecurity threats, spear phishing. Again, as the technology improves, the hackers improve as well. And again, I know you guys have all seen this number. A lot of tests at the end. The average time to detect a breach within an environment. I've seen 204, I think 205, and 206. So I'm not sure. I guess marketing, we didn't get the number from the same place, but that's still pretty frightening when you think about it. To have somebody in your environment for that long, who knows what they can do. And you want to really reduce that down. So again, just some headlines. The attacks that are out there. Again, it goes back to the "it's when, not if" mantra. Really, you have to be vigilant now and on the lookout for these types of activities coming through. I thought this was an interesting quote from Gardner. I know before LogRhythm, I worked as a sysadmin, network admin, security admin for a large bank. And, back then it was hard to get money for security. The breaches weren't in the news. The folks that had the purse strings, they didn't really understand the need for security until something happened to them, right? Everything's running fine. I don't need to invest in security. With everything that's going on now, Gardner predicts 2020, 60% of all, budgets are going to be security related. It just kind of goes to show, finally, individuals out there, executives are finally getting the point that, yeah, we need to start paying attention to this. So this is where we kind of start talking about how LogRhythm takes the approach to working and preventing some of the threats that are out there. And this has a lot of red on it, and I was told earlier that the red was not coming through on the projector very well. So if it looks black, just pretend it's red. All of us, we were all kind of laughing out there that all our slides, I think, is you want to have the bad stuff in red, so none of them came. Or it's kind of hard to see. I can see a little red there. I digress. Prevention-centric approaches, can stop common threats. So your endpoint, your signature-based, pieces that are out there. Even your endpoints are changing with the environment, becoming more behavioral-based. They have to because signature-based. I think John mentioned it in the presentation prior. If somebody wants to get in your environment, they're going to find out what your antivirus vendor is, and they're going to easily know a way to circumvent that. So what LogRhythm does is take the information as a whole. What a SIM tool does is really take a look at all the information within your environment. So the tools that we have out here, Bit9, the other vendors that are here, we take all that information into a single view, and we tie it all together and run enhanced analytics on all that data. So basically, within your environment, anything that creates a record, a log message, vulnerability data, whatever it might be, LogRhythm can bring that in, run analytics, and then correlate it across disparate log sources. I'll bring up some other use cases in a minute, but that's what the advanced threat these days really need a kind of a big data. I hate that word. It kind of went out of style, but I just said it again. The big data piece, high velocity, high volume data. You need, there's not a person in here, I don't think that wants to sit and analyze log data. I know I don't. And as much as it comes in, you need some enhanced analytics to do that. So another piece of LogRhythm, we try and be not just a vendor selling you a SIM tool, but also on the consultative side as well. So I'll get into this in a little more depth in a couple slides, but we have what's called a security intelligence maturity model. And we like to work with our end users to try and see where you're at on that, a level from 1 to 4, 0 to 4. And again, we'll go through that in a minute, but really the ultimate goal here is, two values: your mean time to detect, your mean time to respond. So how quickly can I detect something happening, but also how quickly can I respond to it once I have detected it. And for organizations, like we saw, 206 days, the average mean time to detect. That's frightening. You want it to be down here in the hours or minutes. You don't want it to be up to days, weeks, or even months. So in the threat life cycle, so that the kill chain, if you would, walking through from left to right. So see, what's a little red over here? That's a little black. All right. We have our, the threat kill chain. What happens? So we have your reconnaissance. So they're knocking on your door continuously. I'm sure you guys have had that visibility. You'll see, you get, from China. I hate to pick on China, but everybody that we install LogRhythm in, they're one of the top countries of origin for any type of activity. So they're constantly probing, trying to find vulnerabilities. Where can we get into your environment? And then the initial compromise takes place. So that may be from a vulnerable router, firewall with a default pass, something, or maybe a spear phishing. Somebody clicks on a link, crypto locker. They get in. There's so many ways they can get in these days. That compromise takes place. Set up a command and control server. Now they've, really got a foothold in your environment. They can, download additional payloads, perform additional activities, and then, that's when they start their lateral movement. So trying to move to different hosts, finding kind of the gold mine, the honeypot, if you will, not honeypot in security terms, but true honeypot where all of your sensitive data is stored. That's their ultimate goal once they're in there, is try to find that. Their target attainment, and then exploitation, corruption, and disruption. So, they found that information. But once they get in there, they often don't leave. That's where that 206 days comes in. The longer they can stay in there, the more data they're going to have access to, the worse that breach could be. So, what we like to try and utilize to prevent these attacks is preventing, in the early stages. So, again, going back to my example, the PlayStation hack I talked about, they got in initially by just defacing a website. Well, if you have, been able to monitor your volume of web server logs, these individuals ran a SQL injection tool called Beach over and over and over. Their web server logs went from, I think, a couple of kilobytes a day to over 10 megs a day. But who's monitoring your log data? Again, something that you easily could see if you're actually monitoring, but who's taking that? So, again, trying to get in here early and stopping it before it moves further is really kind of the key piece here. Again, going back to it's when, not if. So, we talked about security vectors. The last presentation, you did a really good job on the user side, insider threats. We have to monitor our users. They can often be your weakest link, within your security environment, your security plan. The social engineering aspect, clicking on a link. I think somebody mentioned earlier today, they sent, some pen testing emails that actually said, do not click this link, and 20% of the folks actually click the link. So it's just, educating your end users on security. But also monitoring for anomalous activity. So the last slide, from the previous presentation, what is that user, when are they logging into their host? What files are they accessing? Where are they logging in from? All of those activities need to be monitored. And LogRhythm can do that for you. Network, endpoint. So who's accessing this host? What files are on this host? What times are people hitting different pieces of it? So there's a wide-ranging attack surface there. Network, what's my normal network traffic look like? Did I see a 10% increase? Those are the kind of things you can trend and monitor against and really give you that additional piece of information. And that's what we call the, the holistic attack surface. So, I kind of talked a little bit as, what does the SIM tool do? So, this kind of gives you an overall view of how LogRhythm works with the different tools out there, and other SIM tools, SIM analytics tools. How do they work, and to help secure the environment? So, going from left to right, your time to detect. So we're bringing in data from, again, vendors out here, checkpoint, firewall, how out the firewalls, your endpoint, IDS, IPS, whatever it might be in the environment, bringing that data in, and then running the analytics on it. So logging machine data. So, Windows event logs, domain controller logs, some of the cloud providers out there, a lot of, customers, you hear the term the cloud, folks moving out to the cloud, bring that data in too. We always talk about, within our company, better data in, better data you're going to get out. Customers always ask us, well, what should we put in here? We always recommend, the more the better, really. And then discovery. So running the analytics on it. Let me go back here. So the discovery, running the user analytics, like I mentioned, when is somebody going to typically authenticate? Where do they authenticate from? Trying to find those anomalous activities, and then running the machine analytics against, why did I see an account that was set up by an admin, that was used and then deleted within 24 hours? 3 separate events, 3 separate logs that by themselves are meaningless. Being able to tie that together, that can be a pretty powerful, anomalous activity you want to monitor. Why is somebody doing that? The user analytics, we're running a proof of concept for a customer, and one of the first things we saw, they brought in their VPN logs, and they had a user successfully logging into the VPN from China, and not only that, about 10 minutes prior to that, they had changed their password. So this is one of the areas we can quickly go to that prospect and say, hey, do you have somebody traveling in China? Is this a valid login? And in the end, it turned out to be it was completely valid. Somebody was traveling for work, but without a tool bringing all that information in, it can be hard to find that activity and notify you if something wasn't right. And then qualify. So assess the threat, determine if it's real. Eliminate the false positives. Every SIM tool out there, every security tool is going to need tuning. It's going to need some work behind the scenes to get it up and rolling. You look at Target. I believe they had FireEye installed, and they actually received the alerts for that. For the breach. They just were flooded with data. They weren't able to keep up, and they were ignored. So in that case, they had the tools there. It was too much data to look at. So you want to qualify that. And then finally, the response. I see activity occurring, anomalous activity. Now I need to be able to research that. And, I don't have to go out to a secondary tool. I want to have it within the same tool that detected it. So, we can do that as well. And then finally, mitigate and recover. Within our tool, you see an alert come through. We have what's called a smart response plugin. You can build your own. You can use the ones we've created. But you can actually take an action to mitigate anomalous activity. So suspicious user activity, disable an AD account, something like that. But a number of different ways to help mitigate it. Compliance automation. I've talked to a lot of folks here from healthcare, financial. There's always that compliance need. We have automated compliance packages that not only help you to provide the reports that you need for, hey, I'm monitoring my logs, for your auditor. But also, we call it continuous compliance. So I can know effectively and actively that, hey, I may be out of compliance. I need to be alerted on that. So not just, giving you a bunch of reports to let somebody know, hey, I was breached, 3 months ago, but I have the log data here. Trying to actively provide that. And then finally, this is the security intelligence maturity model. So again, reducing that mean time to respond, mean time to detect. You see the levels at the bottom, 0 to 4. this is something that we can provide and work with you as an end user to help, see where you're at. Where do you think you are on that model? Really we kind of see a level 4 as maybe, DoD or somebody highly secure, a lot of sneakernet going on. And then finally, I'm just going to go through this quickly. Within the company, we have a professional services side. We also, work with partners like EarthBend to, have somebody provide those services for us, support, training. LogRhythm Labs, that's the piece I like to touch on here. We have a dedicated team of security professionals that, build the knowledge into our products. So not only compliance packages, but we have a number of security analytics packages as well that any user can download and use. APT-related packages, network monitoring packages, network behavioral anomaly detection, and so they're there for your support as well. Constantly building in that information. All right, and that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Hopefully, it wasn't too bad saying a lot of the same stats, but who can tell me the average time to detect a breach? 204, yeah. Or 5 or 6. Yeah, exactly. All right, well, we're going to be outside, so if you guys do have questions, feel free to stop by. And I appreciate your time. Thanks, Trevor.